G'day guys, Steve here at Marlin Campers. I've got a Marlin Explorer here behind me and I'm just going to go through how I set up an awning. The first thing you'll notice is I've already set the poles in a position ready for me to start to build the frame. 3 uprights along the ground and the 2 spreaders in between them. So everything's ready to go with me starting in one corner. First thing I'm going to do is get one of my pegs in the ground so the ropes can hold the poles in place as I start to build it. Now with this peg, I'm only going to put it halfway in the ground because I'm going to have to move it once it's set up to get the right position. This will at least get me started.
Guys, I've turned off the audio from the video with the background noise. I'm just going to speak at the in the office here. So what I'm doing is setting up the frame. I'm starting in the corner. What I like to do here is basically work at a level that is comfortable to me. So putting the poles in the corner and doing little adjustments, basically guessing where I'm going to need those poles. That rope that I pegged into the ground earlier is what's going to hold everything in place for me. Lean the poles away from the rope, adjust it a little bit so you get the tension, and you'll find that that's going to hold those 3 poles up for you. And just keep on repeating the process. So back to one of the ceiling poles. That one I adjusted a little bit too long. Happens to the best of us, so just put it back in, start again. And as I join that all together, I want to make the poles lean away from the rope, so that's going to hold it in place. And again, just fine tuning or adjusting each of the poles so it's close to where I want it to be. As you move towards that last corner, getting the last couple of poles together, I would have already put a peg in the ground, but with that big trailer in the way, I didn't do it on this occasion, but you would put another peg in the ground with the rope ready for that corner. Bring the ceiling pole back out to where you think it needs to be. And as I said, at that point, I'd put the rope in the corner, connected to the peg. Now you're going to head around and grab your awning. Get a hold of the awning, start sliding it forward. And everything basically is in reverse now. So started from the left of screen over to right. Now I'm going to start from the right across to the left. And this is where you connect the corners of the awning onto the framework and start adjusting each of those poles. I like to adjust the ceiling pole first for the length and then the corner pole for the height. And I'm just looking to get that parallel. Same thing again, find the eyelet in the awning, connect to that center pole. I'm underneath there adjusting the ceiling to get the ceiling length correct before I lift it up high where it's out of reach. You can see I'm working at that height that's comfortable around that sort of waist height so that you can grab each one of those poles and adjust them smaller or longer depending on where they need to be. Ceiling pole first and then the height. Get the tension back on the rope. Now once you've got the 2 corners, you can see both my corners are fairly parallel, so now I get to work in the middle. As I'm working in the middle, I'm going to loosen the 2 poles either side, the 2 poles that have the red ends on them, so that as I raise the center, those 2 joining poles can just naturally lengthen and take shape. Once it's looking fairly straight, you want to move around to where the Velcro from the awning connects to the frame. So that's particularly important on a windy occasion. If you're setting up in the wind, you've got to make sure you've got that Velcro on early and that you have all your ropes on. a rope in the corner where I am now would be crucial, and in the other corner, because as soon as you put that awning out, you're going to get a lot of wind, and that's going to blow it out of the way and make your job very hard. As I adjust everything here, particularly with this model, this is an Explorer, so it's got that front panel. So I'm just looking to get a straight line across the awning. It's a little bit different with the Escape and Cruiser model. You don't have that front blue canvas, and there's a technique that we'll get to in a few seconds to show you how to get the peak in the roof correct without having that blue canvas on top. But for those with an Explorer, the blue canvas at the front, that gives you a bit of an indication. If that's straight, then you know you got it in the right position. If it's a little bit loose or wrinkled, then a couple of adjustments on your upright poles will straighten out all that canvas. We're starting to get pretty close. Bit of adjustment for the peak in the roof just to get that canvas tight and the peak. If you have a look underneath here, you can see those little ripples in the canvas. This is something to look for when you're adjusting the center pole, the number 7 pole. As you lift that up and down, you'll find that you'll get the canvas into that really smooth, sweet spot as it goes up and down, and that means that you've got the pitch of the roof where you want it. Now that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to put those last couple of ropes on that I haven't got to. And you can see with the ropes on 2 corners, that's going to pull both sides quite tight, and you end up with a nice clean look. Everything looks parallel. The tent, the main part of the tent across to the awning, looks quite straight. That's about it from me. If you have any questions at all, make sure you reach out to Steve at Marlin Campers or contact the office on 0409 887 927.